Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not. We'll finish up the Disney portion of this with That's So Raven. Uh, One thing I haven't been mentioning, yes, these are retro rewinds. At least the first. 6 of these will be retro rewinds. And then the rest will be. The other 4 I'm doing will be, for the most part, from the vaults, although one will just be not. Anyway, uh, the episode entitled "Don't Have a Cow." No Bart Simpson in sight, though. Uh, but yeah, if you don't know what That's So Raven is, well, watch it. It's a good show. But Raven Simone plays Raven Baxter, who has psychic visions, a trait of her grandmother's that skipped her a generation and went to her. Her mother doesn't have them. And each episode revolves around. It's it's a little bit tropey where she has a vision that something's going to happen, so she tries to stop it, but usually that just leads to the vision happening. Which I always kind of went, what's the point of her having the visions? It was just going to lead to what the vision says happening. Usually. This episode is different. It's a Halloween episode. And, well, we'll get to it. The way they work in division is a little bit unique. But, yeah. So, Raven and her best friend Chelsea, she has 2 friends, Chelsea, played by Annalisa Vanderpool, and Eddie, played by Orlando Brown. And they know about her psychic powers, but she doesn't tell her parents. I think her brother Corey knows about it before the mom just disappeared from the show. They do explain it in Raven's home, but I don't know. But, yeah. They want to go to this Halloween party, which is hosted by their enemy, Alana, who hates Raven, and by association, Chelsea. But Eddie is invited because who I can only describe as Alana's muscle has a thing for Eddie. I don't remember her name. But then Alana also has a friend. I don't remember her name either, but she's played by Ashley Eckstein or Ashley Drain. Or the girl from the Dragon Draft episode, Believe Me, Brother. Yeah, her. But, yeah. And they're like, we didn't get our... Eddie is invited, but they're not. And so they're like, we didn't get our invites. And they're like, she says something in Spanish. And they're like, no, you're not invited, blah, blah, blah. Eddie's invited because the one girl has a crush on him, so... Yeah. We also find out that Raven's dad's restaurant, I think it's called the Chill Grill, which is what he has starting in season 2, is going to host this party. Because we don't have another set, so that's what it's going to be. And, yeah, so Chelsea and Raven are having lunch. Raven has a regular burger. Chelsea has a veggie burger. But, something's wrong. Chelsea's eating her veggie burger, and she says it's nice, it's juicy, it's meat. She ate meat. Oh, no, she's a vegetarian. That's a no-no. But the biggest problem is that it tastes good. Yeah. But I've had veggie stuff, too, and that stuff's not bad tasting either. There's some things you can, it don't exactly taste, but the veggie chicken patties are very chicken tasting. So, yeah. I'm just saying. But now she's all freaking out. And they're like, well, we're not going to be able to go to the party, but we're going to go through my grandma Babe's trunk. Chelsea's like, he's like, yeah, I hyped it up a little bit too much. But anyway, they're going through and they find a book of magic spells. And there's that everything, wish for everything spell, whatever. So they set everything up and they make a wish. Say the magic words. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. From the book. Or as I and John Stamos would say it, from the book, huh? Okay, Joseph, say the magic words. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. From the book, huh? Please. From the book, huh? From the book, huh? Do the look. No, yeah. So they wish to be invited to Alana's party. Magically, Alana calls and said, I don't know why I'm saying this, but you're invited to the party. And she's like in a trance, and her best friend's like, yes, but if she wasn't in a trance right now, she would do this. Hung up. Then they wish that they had the best costumes, and all eyes were on them, and there's one more thing. And then they're hopping up and down after making the wish, and the no meat pin that Chelsea is wearing that has a cow on it falls into the cauldron. Yes. So they're getting ready. By the way, a thought crossed my mind here. They're both in robes and towels on their head. They shower together? Because how does that work? Because you think if they showered one at a time, or maybe there's 2 showers or something, but if they showered one at a time, why is one still in a towel what, you know what I mean? Why? I don't know, but Raven takes off her towel off her head, and she's got cow ears, because yeah. And as they're all freaking out, they discover that Chelsea has a tail. Then Eddie shows up and say, hey. They're like, Eddie's here. We're right down. So they put the towels and stuff back on their heads. And they're like, oh, I heard you got invited to Alana's party. I don't know how he heard so quickly. Unless the bodyguard lady called him and told him. I don't know how he heard so quickly. He's dressed as a wizard, and that's a pretty good wizard costume. I do like how he's eating the... I always like this, where he's eating the things like this. When he goes, ooh, that tastes like feet. Then he tries it again. Yeah, that's definitely feet. And it's one of those things. Oh, that tastes like crap. Oh, that tastes like shit. Oh, it tastes like feet. And just how do you know what that tastes like? That tastes like feet. Did you put someone's foot in your mouth at some point? I don't know. That definitely feet. So like how he says that. He's like, oh, I figured we could go together. I'm like, haha, no. See, we're not ready yet. It's very last minute, so we'll meet you there. He goes, hey, can I use this book as part of my costume? They're trying to rush me. I'm like, yeah, go. So he leaves. And they're like, did we do the spell wrong? What's going on? Did we do it wrong? What is it? And then they find the pin, the button. I like Raven's response. We wish to be cows. Why couldn't you be wearing a Holly Berry button? And they'd both be Holly Berry. Which is problematic because then Chelsea would have to be in blackface. Unless they just double Holly Berry. I don't know. Anyway, no, they're turning into cows. And they're like, well, we'll just use the book to reverse the spell. No, Eddie has the book. So, and I gotta go to the party. Like, well, we can't just go to the party just as cows. Well, it's a Halloween party, so yes, you can. So they show up, and they're starting to turn more into cows. There is a B plot, but we'll get to that because I have a problem with it. Rewatching this when you're older makes you think. But they get there, and they're like, hey, we need the book, but Raven now has hooves. And Chelsea now has hooves, and she eats the spell. So they're screwed. And then I do like this part where they're like, okay, before we find out who the winner of the costume contest will be, which we all know will be Alana, we're going to find out who number 2 is. She opens it. Alana? What? It's my party. I always win. Then what's the point of the costume contest if that's always going to be the same winner? Why does anyone try putting on a contest if Alana's always going to win? If it's always common knowledge that she's always going to win. Raven and Chelsea win, and they're now completely cows. And in the B plot, yes, I gotta talk about the B plot here before we get to the twist. In the B plot, Corey thinks he's going as a big muscle wrestler dude. And with a fake world championship. This is the world championship of the time. This was 2004, 5. But yeah, it's a very fake looking one. You know, they would use like the toy WWE championships and kind of make it they look similar, but not too much that the WWE could sue. It kind of like that. But yeah, and he's like, Dad, I want to go trick or treating by myself with his friend William, which is weird watching it now because my son's name is William. Like, oh, it's William, and William is a remote control that is fully operational. In theory, it doesn't work. It short circuits everything. And he's like, well, I need to rewire. He's like, I need to rewire. No, we need to get candy. Now, if Corey had let him rewire, then I don't think there would be this problem. But eventually they come back. Like, the dad's all depressed. He's like, well, you know, I can take you trick-or-treating. He goes, woman, I'm a grown man. Fine, we'll stay home. I want my own candy. So they leave. And then we come back later. And he and William come back. And he goes, your costume set off every car alarm and for the next few blocks or whatever. So all they got was a packet of breath mints and some pennies that they were thrown at them. But then the dad comes in with all the candy, and I do like the gag they do, but they're like, that's your father's candy. Can I? Oh, go ahead. And he's eating a piece of candy. He's like, you know, this is not as sweet as usual. He's like, oh, is that because you didn't get it with your dad? And he's like, no, it's sugar-free. But then he does apologize, which I'm like, he doesn't really need to apologize, because, like, there's a point where you want to start going on your own. I don't think I ever did, just because, I don't know. There was a point my sister and I started handing out candy together, and we the way we had the house, we had this big stair, and they got to come up onto the porch. So one of us, we would take turns. It's supposed to be like a garden, but there's nothing in there really at this point, but a bunch of leaves. So we take turns. One of us would hide in a pile of leaves, and they come up, and the code words, one of us would say Happy Halloween, and the other one would pop out of the leaves and scare people. That would happen one year. It was fun. Pretty cool. But yeah, when my brother was going trick-or-treating at the time, and we were too old. My last time I went trick-or-treating, I was a construction worker. I wore my mom's first husband. He was actually a construction worker, so he let me use his actual tool belt and hammer and stuff in the work hat. So I didn't really have to get a costume. It was a real thing. That was my last. Because like, oh, you're not doing it this year, and then I don't know. I guess I was bummed, and they saw that. Like, oh, you know what? We could throw something together. So I was a construction worker, not Lester Oaks construction worker, doing construction on things, but no. Yeah, and so it kind of ends with that. There's also a scene, we'll get to it. But anyway, after their cows, we snap cut to, it was actually Raven's vision. Yeah, and she stops Chelsea from eating the meat, and she switches him back. And she's like, she tells her what happened. She's like, geez, Ray don't have a cow. She's like, yeah. And then after this, we cut to, it's the parents. They're like, the kids are asleep. You think what I'm thinking? Candy. And it ends with them going after the candy. Okay. But I have a question watching this. If everything was a vision, this ending scene shouldn't exist then, because it never happened, but it still happened. If this was all Raven's vision, does she also see in the vision of her brother and all his stuff with the trick-or-treating? I think if they were going to do this, it should have been all focused on Raven for the entire episode, not cutting back and forth. 'Cause now, you could say, well, that stuff with Corey still happened, Just the stuff with them didn't happen. So everything we're seeing with Raven is the vision, and the Corey stuff still happened. Okay, but here I have another thing. She stopped Chelsea from eating the meat, which means now she wouldn't have the pin, the button. So, in theory, if the visions always seem to come true or have some truth in them, so they could still run to the Aunt Viv's trunk, get the thing, get the spell, make the wish. There's no button this time. There won't be cows. Boom. Right? Because she stopped her from eating the meat. Now, a lot of times she has the vision and they try to avoid it. She ends up happening anyway. But this is foolproof because there would be no button. Right? I'm just saying. They could still have done this and gone to the party and won the contest and not be cows. Though I don't think that Raven's choice, Queen of Hearts, because it's a very subtle thing, where it's like a dress or something that's hearts, and then she's got the crown. I don't know. The Queen of Hearts. Sorry, that's not popped in my head. I don't know. But, yeah. This was definitely a memorable one back in the day. Because they turned into cows. And it's one of those clever things where some of these where they're like, oh, it was all a dream. Or in the case of even Stevens, it was a story being told by Lewis. Here, it was a vision. But it was a vision the whole time. But it could still come true. Because I'm pretty sure, because her visions are always in truth somehow. There's always some truth to her visions. I don't know. But yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this episode? In the comments below, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.